To improve her levels of arousal, Sarah should learn to recognize signs of arousal and her specific state anxiety. A coach could tailor certain strategies to her to reduce her arousal or maintain her optimal arousal. It would help to develop her confidence and make her feel more in control of the game. If she feels better about how she's playing, then she will start to play better more regularly. State anxiety can be perceived as facilitative or debilitating, depending on how much control the person perceives. Developing cognitive skills and strategies helps people to view their anxiety as facilitative. If Sarah can change her mindset, make her anxiety feel like a success more than a failure, she is more likely to perform better and feel better. In the long run, Sarah will be able to score more goals and improve her performance. There are both somatic and cognitive techniques for controlling anxiety and stress during performance. These include biofeedback, breathing control, centering, and progressive muscular relaxation. Biofeedback is information about changes in psychological variables. For example, when a patient watches a monitor displaying changes in reading for variable associated with somatic anxiety and tries to lower the reading by distracting their attention away from the cause of the anxiety. For example, if someone is having their heart rate taken at the doctor's and they know that it is particularly high, then they will psychologically try to lower it themselves due to being stressed at the results and not achieving the correct results, even though there are no correct results. Sarah can use this form of technique to take back self-control during matches. Breathing control is just as it sounds and involves using diaphragmatic breathing as a means of focusing on relaxation. If Sarah can step away from play and count to retain control on her breathing for a short while, she should remain back to calm and lower her anxiety levels. Centering involves using deep breathing as a way of refocusing your concentration. It is a process by which individuals direct their attention to a central portion of the body while engaging in deep rhythmic breathing, with the purpose of merging their attention and center of gravity and gaining or regaining focus. In progressive muscle relaxation, you tense a group of muscles as you breathe in and you relax them as you breathe out. You work on your muscle groups in a certain order. When your body is physically relaxed, you cannot feel anxious. Lots of athletes choose to start at their toes and work their way up through the muscle groups. There are also cognitive techniques for controlling anxiety and stress. These include imagery, visualization, attentional control and cue utilization, thought stopping, and self-talk. Imagery involves the formation of mental pictures of successful performances. It can be used in a variety of ways to either create the expected experience of a new situation or recall the feelings of a past situation. This can be internal or external. For Sarah, this would be imagining herself scoring a goal before she's even attempted to throw the ball. Many successful basketball players use this type of technique. Visualization is the process of creating a mental image of what you want to happen or feel. Visualizing success helps many athletes. Attentional control and cue utilization is often known as focusing. It is maintaining concentration on appropriate cues and ignoring everything else around. Thought stopping is often used by athletes who become overwhelmed with negative thoughts. Once they recognize the development of their negative thoughts, then they can redirect it to a more positive outlook, either through a thought or an action. Self-talk is where the individual develops positive thoughts about their actions and performances. They aim to eradicate negative thoughts by replacing them with positive statements. Sarah could use this at the end of games, where she can discuss or write down what she thought went well during the game. Then before her next game, she can look back at what she did right last time and attempt to replicate this. Often athletes choose to practice under pressure, so that when they are under actual pressurizing situations, they don't become as stressed. Sarah will also experience stress during her performance. Stress is described as a pattern of negative physiological states and psychological responses occurring in situations where people perceive threats to their well-being, which they may be unable to meet. Lazarus and Folkman, 1984. Stress is generally discussed in relation to an imbalance between the demands of the situation encountered by an individual and the perceived ability to cope or adjust to these demands. Lazarus, 1991. Stress is the body's response to any demands made on it. It is the body's reaction to a circumstance or situation that requires a physical, mental, or emotional adjustment or response, be it positive or negative. There are two main types of stress. This is eustress and distress. EU has a Greek meaning of well or good and suggests healthy stress. It is a positive reaction of a performer to stress, leading to optimal arousal. Some performers like an element of stress. A quote from Ronaldo said, "I like living with pressure." Many athletes feel that stress helps them to concentrate and focus, challenges them, motivates them, gives them a coping satisfaction, and helps them to perform better. During the 2012 Olympic tennis finals, Andy Murray played Roger Federer for a chance at the gold medal. Murray uses his stress to help focus him and motivate him to win. In turn, he won the first gold medal for British male singles in over a century. Distress is an extreme form of anxiety and nervousness, apprehension, or worry. It is the result of a perceived inability to meet demands. An example of this distress is when David Nalbandian, during the 2012 Championships tennis, kicked the umpire in the leg, which is a very aggressive move. This is him being overly stressed, not knowing what to do with his energy, and putting it into something negative. Sarah experiences eustress in practice, but distress against her rivals. This is played into by her anxiety. When she is comfortable, she experiences eustress, but when she is uncomfortable, she becomes distressed. There are three different types of stress. These are somatic, cognitive, and behavioral. Somatic symptoms of stress include an increased heart rate, increased adrenaline, dry mouth, and dilated pupils. Cognitive symptoms of stress include reduced concentration, making mistakes, narrow attention span, and worry. Behavioral symptoms of stress include interrupting conversations and nervous habits. The parasympathetic nervous system lowers these stress responses, whereas the sympathetic nervous system increases them. There are different categories that stress is factored into. These include sports environments, internal, lifestyle factors, external, occupational, and personal life. For Sarah specifically, she will be stressed in sporting environments, potentially internally and externally. Each of these categories will have different ways of dealing with stress. Nick will also experience stress in sporting environment. However, he will also experience it within his personal life and maybe even his occupation.